Good evening. I guess I'm recording this at like 3 in the afternoon, but it was at 7. Good evening. I am your Good evening. I am your valedictorian, Kyle M. Gresco, and I find it a little bit funny that after I more or less refused to shut up for 4 years straight, somebody decided that it would be a good idea for me to get up here and talk some more. But while I was writing this speech, I found myself for once with very little to say. So I did what any self-respecting writer would do, and I looked for places to plagiarize from for, we'll say, inspiration. I found a survey from months ago when we, the class of 2021, selected a class color, a class flower, a class song, and a class quote. The colors we chose were blue and yellow, and we selected a sunflower, and our designated song is is Stereo Hearts by the Gym Class Heroes, which appropriately is, one of those songs that smells like an elementary school gym class. Personally, the component I cared about most was the quote. I like quotes. They're a catchphrase that you stole from someone else, and that's kind of the theme here. And so our senior quote is, take pride in how far you have come and have faith in how far you can go. Solid quote. Maybe a basic one, but good message nonetheless. Sounds like something Mrs. Manarino would say on the end of day announcements during our today's positive thought. But instead of this being a quote from like a rhetorical giant, like Washington or Kennedy or Kanye, that aged poorly, or Kanye, it was said by unknown. The quote was attributed to unknown. To me, the unknown of it all is terrifically ironic. I vividly remember the process of choosing my individual senior quote for the yearbook, figuring out what I wanted to say. Why did I want to say it? What represented me? And where was I going to find a person or media form that had said the specific? Where was I going to find a person or media form that had said the exact specific wording I wanted in an easily citable or well-documented form? Our individual quotes were required to be said by someone specific rather than an unknown, you see. And so I guess I'm just a little dissatisfied personally. If my life's work to this point is going to be summed up in one quote and a color, I think we have plenty of excellent options from even the staff and the students here at Millbrook before we reach into unknowns. Actually, I think instead of just spending my speech reminding you to, pay your taxes or whatever it is valedictorians do, I'd like to rattle off some of my favorite options that I've rounded up over the last few years here from Millbrook locals. The first quote that comes to mind to replace this current senior quote is from our dear Mr. Ratliff, the Mr. Ratliff classic, "Don't be stupid." I think that's great advice, but I don't know if that's really going to work for the vibe of the class that may or may not have accidentally set a bathroom on fire. Mr. Hammer, our beloved history teacher, also once said some very excellent advice to me. He said, Kyle, and he said this very calmly, he said, Kyle, do not speak for the next 15 minutes. Maybe there's something in there about the value of silence, but I'm not sure this quote telling us to keep our thoughts to ourselves instead of letting them out and sharing them with the world around us is really the message we want. I'm trying to think. Once Jared Plasberg tried to convince me that he was only 5'11". Guess that's not really a quote. That's just something I attribute. Maybe we should go to our very. I think my personal favorite option for a replacement quote comes from our own Dr. Sovine, who was a wise man, as I'm sure you all know. He once said to me, and I quote, said this to me, "FCPS will be closed today, December 19th, 2019. He told me that, and then I immediately shut off my phone and fell back asleep. Thanks, Doc. None of these quotes are any better than the current one. Not being stupid, taking time to be silent, taking time for self-care. Maybe good ideas, but they're empty, ineffective. They feel the same way the original quote from Unknown felt, inadequate, like a cop-out. How are we to reduce our 13 years of arduous effort into a 2-line quip said by somebody who thought they were clever? As a class, we're more than a series of adjectives or witty juxtapositions. As individuals, we're even more nuanced. There is no way to condense the entire complex spirit of any human being into a series of labels and poetic phrases. The many things we've accomplished in the few years we've been alive and what we will achieve in the many years to come are worth more than what can be said in a vague 2-line anonymous quote and more than what some goober like me could hope to describe in a 900-word monologue. My point is, don't be proud of how far you've come and also faithful of how far you'll go. Let other people be the proud and faithful ones. Let everybody else distill your experience in your life at this school and beyond into a short quip. All you should be focused on is doing as you will and doing it well. Thank you. And then it says here, standing ovation, bow for the next 30 minutes, Obama is there.